Hey,
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. It's good to see you again.
You too, you too. Just to start out, I just want to say, everyone, welcome back to Hearts Align podcast. I am so happy to be here this evening with the one and only Devin Boss. It's been a while. Just to give a little bit of context to the people tuning in, um, I met Devin back in the college days. We both went to Berkeley. Oh, pardon me.
I wish.
This is a job interview. Sorry. What I meant to say was we both went to community college, nonetheless, an institute of higher education. And when I met Devin, he was doing professional theater productions, did some stand-up comedy, and can you tell us a little bit about your journey up to that point?
Uh, yeah, absolutely. I think, you're going to hear me say a lot that I've been very lucky. I think when I got out of high school, I graduated from Boyna High School,
Mhm.
2007, and I had no direction. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I didn't know what I wanted to be, but all my life I had people tell me I should do stand-up, that I should do comedy, should do theater, and I always went, guffaw on that. I didn't think I'd be any good at it, and it was also at a time where I wasn't very healthy. I think I was at my heaviest. I was at about 285 pounds, really unhappy.
Mhm.
And then I saw that Ventura College, where we met,
Yeah.
they were having an acting class, and it was such a strange acting class because it was like every Wednesday and Friday from like 6:30 to 8:30 or something weird, and I just thought, well, why not? And I met, and it just so happened again with luck that that was the one time the creative director of the Rubicon Theater Company was teaching that class, and that's how I befriended him, and he saw potential. I was very flattered, and he said, hey, Rubicon's going to have this one act. Why don't you audition for it? I auditioned for it, but I was so scared. I didn't have the confidence, and I actually got a part.
Oh.
Um, and I remember immediately going, I'm so sorry, Brian. Brian was his name. I don't think I can do it. I'm sorry. I got to back out. I really appreciate the opportunity. I'm just not there yet. I'm really scared. He's like, okay, well, how about this? I'll go ahead and do the role for you, but only if you promise that you'll do the summer acting intensive this year. And I said, well, I don't know. What is that? And, it's like a 2 or 3 week, acting intensive where you meet dialect coaches, you meet, sword fighting coaches, choreography, dancing. But in this particular case, it was Shakespeare. And yeah, so I figured why not? It felt safe, and I really didn't want to do that one act because I was so scared. So I did it, and kind of fell right into a groove. I did that summer intensive probably, I want to say 3 or 4 years straight.
Oh.
Um,
Mhm.
and and I think for me, what really helped, and I think for a lot of young men, my advice would be is to find a mentor. Somebody a bit older than you, but see something in you that others don't, and would like to help build that up in you. For, after I met Brian McDonald, I met Joseph Fuqua through the acting intensives, and I got hungry, so to speak. I didn't have that fear anymore. I wanted to do every role I could. I did shows at the Elite Theater in Oxnard. I did shows at the Conejo Players. I was just in everything at that point, and I was also humble, right? I did have friends that, when they were offered a role, if it wasn't like, oh, it needs this many lines, I have to be this, I didn't care. The people you meet in theater are one of a kind. Lifelong friends. I still know most of them to this day.
Yeah.
But that's really what got me into it. And then, I started thinking maybe I should give stand-up a try. Um,
Yeah.
and at Ventura College, I started my first comedy club. I think it's also Ventura College's first comedy club. I it, it was so much fun. We're getting paid to do stand-up comedy. We're doing sketches, and the college was always very, very supportive. They always would put our videos up at the top. They'd share it. We could be involved in all of like their government because they had like a student body government stuff. So we'd often, help them with their videos to make them a little bit more fun.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
but but yeah, I was all over. I was all over. That 285-pound guy with no confidence went to somebody who I immediately lost a ton of weight. I dropped down to about 200 pounds. I was a lot happier, and honestly, I finally had a drive. Right, I finally knew more or less what I thought I did, but again, without the mentorship of Brian McDonald and Joseph Fuquay at that point in my life, I don't know what would have happened. So I'm just really happy that our lines crossed.
Yeah. So you took a chance on taking an acting class though, right? That
Yeah.
was the move that you made. Were you scared to do that?
Yeah, but yes, because I mean, to this day, and I'll let you know in secret. A lot of directors know this. I've never been off book. Memorizing lines has always been very, very challenging for me, and I knew that even before I started that was going to be tough. But
Yeah.
uh, I think I just gravitated towards the fun things, and that made it easier. So, improv,
Mhm.
I excelled at that. So. I just found a way to make it more palatable, if you will. Like I wanted to get into all of it, but those fun things really made it easier for me.
I know exactly what you're saying. I was in a speech class with James Graham, actually.
Yes.
Yeah, and he was already a pro at public speaking. I was brand spanking new. I was also the youngest person in the classroom because everyone waited till the very last minute to when they had to take it. It was like my first semester or maybe second semester. I took it early to take it with James, and yeah, I choked on my first. It was like kind of an improv. Like we had to pick a topic from a hat. We had 3 minutes to come up with this little spiel. I choked
Oh,
totally. Yeah. But what I did was I actually, when we had to deliver a speech, I made it funny. And that was my way
yeah.
of not being so nervous because I didn't want to be up there boring people to death. So
Yeah.
and so I actually got some laughs too, and that felt great, right? So I
Yes.
awesome. As soon as I had the classroom laughing, I was just like, yes, this is a piece of cake. So comedy, yeah, I know what you mean. When you make it fun.
Yeah. Did you ever, and forgive me, I don't know, did you ever get to do any theater yourself? Like young Linnea or old Linnea? Any Linnea do some theater?
I've never done theater.
Gotcha.
I've loved the arts, but I just really was never introduced to it. I could have tried and gotten into it, but honestly, like I commend you because not like being brand new, like an adult especially, it was really like nerve-wracking to think about. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, but let me tell you, last year when I'm in Oregon now, but I was in California, I watched the Steve-O documentary, and he inspired me
Yes.
just because of all the things he had to do to become famous. He literally just did anything and everything to become famous. My goal was not to become famous, but he inspired me to just try shit, just whatever it is, just
Yes.
it. So I actually did get a couple gigs in LA. One of them was a Facebook promotion, and they closed down all of Venice Beach Skate Park, and I got paid $400 just to skate Venice Beach for a day.
Wow. Yeah. Wouldn't that be the life? That's it for us. We just do that every day.
I started thinking about it after.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, maybe I should learn how to act, you know? And
Yes.
I got some other, like improv gig that was literally 5 to 10 minutes of my time. Just got $100 on the spot. So I don't know. I did a couple things, you know, and then I moved though, and LA kind of had all the gigs.
Yes.
If I was still there, I think I would have kept going, just going first.
Yeah. So you got to play to win. That's what I say a lot. You got to play to win. You know, you're not gonna get that gig unless you try. You're not gonna be seen unless you're out there trying. So absolutely.
Yeah, but that was just kind of Linnea just being like, let's just try stuff. Honestly, I was trying to make some money, and so I was just like, hey, let's try it. But I've never been a master of the craft at all.
Well, and that's one of the things that's a real shame. It's hard to get paid doing the craft. Because I absolutely hear you. I probably did theater and stand-up like exclusively for probably about 5 years when I was in California. But after a certain point, you know, I can't keep living at my mom's. I can't keep bouncing around from part-time job to part-time job. And, you know, California costs a living. I mean, there was no way. There was no way. And, you know, and that's kind of where the next step of my life came. I was adopted. I was in an open adoption, meaning like I kind of always knew that I was adopted, and I actually had contact with my biological mother for pretty much my whole life. We've always had like a pretty good relationship. You know, it was one of those kind of like a pen pal thing for a long time. She'd always send gifts and stuff, and I should say she is and still is in Florida.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's kind of the connection there, because after doing theater, I was just, you know, I was very happy, but, you know, my parents were moving because they were downsizing, and I didn't have anything set. You know, I was working at Vaughn's. Shout out to Vaughn's. I was working at Vaughn's for like $9.50 an hour in the deli. And, you know, you can't do much with that type of, and again, right, this was a while ago. I'm sure they pay more. I'm not trying to give them a hard time, but my biological mother just said, hey, why don't you consider coming out here and giving, you know, Florida a shot? I took it immediately, just because from what I had heard, cost of living was better here at that time. This must have been, oh man, 2007. It's been a while. I want to say 2007. No, 2013. It was in 2013. And yeah, I had to leave. I couldn't do it, so I got on the flight. I left. And honestly, my life got a lot better in the way that you'd hope an adult's life gets better, right? Like, I was able to get a job in a call center. Again, all this is very, very much luck-based. I just want to be clear about that, because California, it's difficult to find a job, let alone a good-paying job, and it's incredibly competitive. Coming to Florida, lots of jobs, always tons of jobs. Pay high, pay low, hard work, computer work, whatever your poison was. And I had a job interview at this call center called Alorica, and you know, again, I didn't know how the professional world worked at that time. So, you know, I came into training in like a t-shirt and basketball shorts. You know, again, I can't say this enough, mentors are very important. Once I was doing technical support for Costco electronics. So any product you'd buy there, I mean, think about it, printer, tablet, phone, TV, computer, everything. You'd call that number, you'd get me, and, you know, more or less it's just me on Googling things. But again, I can act. I can pretend like I know what I'm doing. I can, but...
been handy.
Yes, it's and yes, without that experience, I don't know how I would have done what was next, because at that job, I definitely conformed, if you will, because
Yeah.
I wanted to make more money, so I needed to look the part. So I started dressing nicer. I started caring more. And like I said earlier, you got to play to win. So when they had competitions for who could do the most calls, I was there, and that was noticed. And I worked very closely with a gentleman named Rick Schwalbe, Mr. Schwalb, and he got promoted to a higher end team. He took me with him, and then from there, I must have probably did that for 2 years, and I got promoted to a team manager role where I oversaw 20 different employees, and that was really cool because I got to coach each one individually, and I got to do a little bit of mentorship at that point, which was nice. And I started getting itchy for theater again. I really did. I was missing it because I live in Southwest Florida, so I'm not really close to many entertainment hubs. I mean, sure, I could drive to the other coast to Miami, but I wanted to stay local. And my colleague said, well, hey, there's a trainer position opening up. Why don't you think about that? You're in front of people all day. You got to create the material. You got to, I was like, you know what? That sounds like a great idea. So I applied for the corporate trainer role. Again, luck, I got it. And I did that for another year and a half. And then just like all things, I kind of maxed out, if you will, on what I could attain at that company. And then from there, I kind of, just kind of enjoyed the life of a corporate trainer. I was able to go to different companies and do launches for their call centers, and it was really great. And then I met a girl at that time. I thought it would be nice to come back home to California, thinking with this new experience I have, I should be able to get a good paying job, right? It should be easier for me, right? It wasn't, but my mother had moved to Ojai, so I lived in, yes, beautiful place. Everybody visit Ojai if you can.
I love Ohio.
And there was a hotel there called the Ojai Valley Inn, also kind of hidden away. Not a lot of people know about this, but beautiful, luxurious hotel.
Mm-hmm.
I got a job as a reservation agent, and the money was pretty good. And I excelled at that too. I loved it. I mean, how do you have a bad day when this is where you work,
Mm-hmm.
On your lunch, you can go sit and enjoy the spa. You can smell the lavender and the citrus are growing fresh, right? And I think that's kind of what I got a taste of, like, well, if I have to work, I think this is the type of career I think I could see myself doing. So the girl I was with at the time was homesick, and I really wanted to live better than how I was living in Ojai, so I moved again. And that was around the time my son Caden was born. And that was a very special time in my life, obviously. And obviously that also changed things, right? So there was no more, I mean, I kind of shelved the theater performance aspect of myself for that time. But I was able to finally, it took me a while because when I came back, it was right at the start of COVID. And hospitality was just destroyed during that period. So I took a bunch of jobs I didn't like. I worked as a security installer, so I would install like cameras and TVs, wall mount TVs. I hated it because I don't know if you heard, but Florida's pretty hot. So those physical jobs, they're not for me. But I ended up at the Ritz-Carlton of Naples, another beautiful property, luxurious. I think it was January of 21.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did that for 9 months, and I got promoted to sales manager, overseeing all of the Florida region, and I work from home now. So, and right when I got that role, I welcomed my second son, Lucas, and yeah, it's been a ride, but that's kind of, since you and I last saw each other, that's kind of how my trajectory has gone.
Well, can I say that you look amazing?
Thank you. Thank you.
You almost look younger than when I left you.
Yeah, it's how old do you feel? But I appreciate that. You know, I've been doing a fasting diet. I've been trying to mix stuff up, you know, because I don't have as much time as I used to do fitness.
Mhm.
Um, but no, it's really great to talk to you because I have been wanting to do something creative for a while, and you know, I feel like this popped the cork, so to speak.
That's awesome.
So I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, thank you. When you reached out to me, I was super stoked because you have always been such a kind human, you know. Ever since I met you and even way long after, like you were always so friendly, and that's rare, honestly. So,
Well, I appreciate it. I mean, you met me at probably the best time. I think I I hope that wasn't my peak, but I think that was one of my peaks. Right? Was during that theater phase. It was easy for me to be a good person just because I was loved. I was supported. I was around some of the best friends I'm ever going to meet. You know, and I learned so much from all of them. You know, Santa Paula. When I think Santa Paula, I think Grams and Grants. You know, the family aspect of those two families really made an impression on me. I came from a household where there was divorce,
mhm.
so
Oh yeah.
seeing such a and those are two very tight knit, close, loving, open families, and I said, I want that. I want that. So. But I appreciate it. I just think it's easy to be a good person when you're supported, and I'm very lucky because, you know, I was a different person, right? In high school, I was a different person when I was younger. But but I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course, we all have different phases, right? Like when you met me, I was decently happy, but I think now I've grown a lot more. So I would say I have more genuine happiness now. Um, and yeah, doing things like starting to do more creative projects, I just feel like that's what I've always meant to do. And now it's kind of just like, you know, jumping off the cliff, you know, and then learning how to fly on the way down. Um, so I'm really happy that you wanted to come on
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
contribute to this project because I couldn't do it without you.
Well, of course. Well, I'm always happy to help you. And I should say just for a second because I'm sure there's some people like Grants and Grams. Just real quick, if I can, I met. I think I met the Grants
Oh,
first. I want to say I met the Grants first. Yeah.
okay.
Uh, Alyssa Grant, and
Mhm.
then she has a loving father named Charles, a very creative and awesome mother named Tisa, who's a hair salon stylist. She actually owns her own salon, or she did at the time. She did my hair often, and she had two sisters, but all of them were very creative, loving, and then the Grams a little similar. Uh, Gosh, but it's a much bigger family. Boy, James, Jesse, Gus, I want to say Elijah, Eli,
Yes, yes.
Natalie, one of my favorites, Becky Graham.
That,
I've done a lot of shows with her. Yep. And then, of course, their parents, who
mhm.
have always been kind. I think when I went away the first time, they were really sweet and threw me like a going away party at their home.
Oh,
So for those of you who are like, who are these people? That's who they were, and they were both in the Santa Paula area. So for me, when someone says Santa Paula, I always think of those two families first.
well, if you want to add me in there, my last name starts with the G too.
Yeah, yeah. How do you say it though? I don't want to do it live. How do you say it?
It's Greek. It's Golianis.
Golianis. Okay.
Uh,
Do you know how
yeah, but
to say my last name?
Dornbos,
Oh yeah.
right? I'm
I thought you
like,
were gonna do the Dornbos thing. Everyone always says the
oh,
Dornbos thing.
no, no. I'm like Dorn Boss, the one and
Yep.
only.
Yeah.
No, the Grams definitely inspired me a whole lot. They, I hadn't done any musical things. You know,
Yep.
speech I told you about, I actually practiced it in front of James's mom and Natalie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I love them. They definitely like I learned how to play the drums like because James had that drum set in his garage.
Yes.
And
Yes.
yeah, that has I was meant to be around that family
Same.
time. They did really wow, they were amazing. And I am currently wanting to pursue music because of my time with James and seeing what an incredible musician he was, and the whole family was just so musical. That was
Yes.
I almost feel like he should have joined us tonight, but
Yeah, yeah. Well, yes. Maybe one day, but yeah, I keep in touch with all of them as much as I can. It's it's gotten tougher with time, with distance, with all the things we're all doing because all of them are very, very successful now. I think all of them have graduated some form of college. All of them are booking and doing things that are incredibly impressive. But yeah, I think for me, because you had mentioned that you had watched a documentary about Steve-O.
oh,
I think uh, what I wanted to emulate. That's what I will say. What I wanted to emulate was something that I thought was realistic that I could do or locally, because I thought if let's just say if I wanted to be big time, you start small, and for me at the time. The city legend of Ventura at that time frame was a gentleman by the name of Toby Tropper, and he was somebody that I wanted to be just like because he had, he was another one who kind of gave me some insight. He's like, hey, you gotta do shows at each theater to network and meet people. You got to grow as an actor, and then he was the first person I turned to when I started doing my comedy club because. I would have loved to have him be a part of it, and we became very close friends during that time. But yeah, like the friends we made in that time frame, like that Ventura College time frame, there were some incredible people. I mean, we could probably go on forever with the people we met during. I mean, Omar, I think, it was that time period, wasn't he?
yeah, I met him from Rock City in Camarillo,
Yes.
going and watching the concerts.
Yes.
Yeah, but by the way, I just want to say I was trying to tell a joke in the beginning of this about us going to Berkeley, but
Oh.
I'm working on the timing. Okay, I gotta get the timing.
Well,
But
yeah, because when you said that, I'm like, man, that would have been cool if I went to Berkeley.
yeah, I'm working on the delivery, but I'll get there.
Nah, it's gotta start somewhere. So, but no, I love. I haven't been to Berkeley. Have you been to the campus? Because it's nearby from where we used to be.
I haven't been there. I
No?
knew someone who went there. That's about the closest I've come to Berkeley.
Yeah. Um, gosh, I'm trying to think of. So I can tell you a cool story. When I was doing theater at the Rubicon, the Grams were in this. I think James, Becky, and Natalie were in this. The Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. I don't know if that was during your time.
That was before
Uh,
I heard about it.
yeah, great show. And that was a highlight year for me because that was when I did King John. It was my first lead role. King John is King John in Shakespeare, and then right back into the musical theater bit where they did Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat. That show was amazing. We got to meet Ted Neely, who was the original Jesus Christ Superstar.
Oh,
He came and he got to meet all of us. But the craziest thing about that show was I remember it was very very dance heavy and singing and loud, and lots of choreography. And I remember one night, I'm pretty sure it was one of our PM shows, one of the night shows. There was a huge dance number in the middle of the stage, and during the live performance, packed house, the stage collapsed, like collapsed right from under us. And I had exited it right as it happened, so I didn't get to see a whole lot until later after, because I guess what ended up happening after that happened is we just pretended like it wasn't there. So, of course it was there. But I remember afterwards, everyone was just shocked because it was during a dance number, so a few folks fell. I remember, poor Natalie, I think she was one of the ones who fell, and it was very scary. But I've never had anything like that happen ever.
Yeah.
I don't know how often that happens, but
along with it, and it was like this was supposed to happen.
Yeah, that was what came from above, and we all wanted this. We can't just say, "Oh, show's over," So we acted truthfully in imaginary circumstances, as Joseph would say. So, but yeah, I was blown away. I've never seen that happen.
That's wild. I think I remember hearing about that. No one got hurt.
No one got hurt. Just a little scared, cause yeah.
Oh my goodness, I can imagine. My cat wants to say hello.
Oh, hello. What's your cat's name?
This is Blue.
Blue. That's a really good name.
Blueberry, but I call her Blue.
Is that a Russian blue cat? Is that what they're called?
So she's not. My brother has one, and so it kind of made me want a gray kitty, but she's just a gray domestic short hair.
I'm allergic to cats. Otherwise, I'd have one.
Oh, yeah, she's a great companion. As of now, I'm pretty much out here in Oregon on my own.
Right.
Totally
really?
alone. Yeah, so.
You got your own place and everything?
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'll give you an update on me.
Yeah.
Since I last saw you, I'll say my main career was security, actually.
Okay.
I did that for like 4 years. My favorite job was the Santa Barbara Bowl.
Oh, okay.
Concerts, front row.
Yes.
And then I worked at a call center as well. But it was a legal call center. Also, that was luck. My friend worked there, so she kind of referred me, got me in. So that was higher paying, than security. I did waitressing and security, so I was doing like multiple jobs. Anyway, who would have known would have prepared me for coming to Oregon. Okay, sorry, I skipped something. So I also worked at an animal shelter.
Oh, okay.
Last job I had there. Again, okay. I love animals to death, but it was minimum wage. Yep. So, it's just so difficult, right? In California. So I come out here, I start working at a dog daycare. Turned out to not be as cool as you might think. Yeah, a little high strung, kind of not the coolest thing to put 60 dogs in one room together. Yeah, so I got out of there as quick as I could. I was desperate for something better, and I wind up at a law firm.
Wow.
Nice one too, like successful. So that is where I'm at. And
congratulations, it's huge.
Thank you. Yeah. Obviously I'm not a lawyer, but
well, not yet. You gotta go to Berkeley, right?
Right? But just to update, yeah, that's how I'm now living on my own. But again, call it luck. I call it synchronicity. Yeah. I think we line up with kind of like not just desire. I wish it was just desire, but the desire and the inspired action, right?
Yes.
So when we do both of those things, it's amazing what all of a sudden opens up, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and I was also lucky. I don't know what my competition was, but somehow I made it. So
Well, congratulations again. I mean, I'm in awe just because, hey, I wanted to make it work in the West Coast because let's be honest, West Coast is best coast. And you know, I couldn't make it work in California. I actually, believe it or not, I grew up in Portland, Oregon. So
oh, you did?
I did. Right when I was born, my parents almost instantly, because I was born in San Jose, but almost instantly we all moved up to Portland, and I was there till I was about 10 or 11. So my memories of snow, it's all because of Portland, and so I would love to eventually end up back in either Oregon or California, but we'll see. We'll see what's in the cards. But yeah, right now I am enjoying, you know, Southwest Florida. Again, we're lucky. We have a home right before you know, the COVID inflation of pricing, because right now, like
Yeah.
the Northerners are coming down and buying all the houses here, and then the poor people who are here, who have lived here their whole life and finally have the money, can't beat, you know, cash offers from the North. So thankfully we don't have to deal with that, but like it's tough to watch just because, you know, I have friends here who are like, man, I wish I could buy a house, but you know, these lawyers are all retiring, coming back down here and making it really tough for people.
Mhm.
And
I think popular actually during COVID, didn't it? Because they didn't have as many restrictions. So on one hand, people might say, "Oh, stay away from Florida," but then other people are like, "Hey, let me go there."
yeah, uh, yes. So the climate here is definitely different than what I grew up with.
Mhm.
Um, and yes, that's a very big thing here. You know, it's like being in a glass house of all these different views that I don't necessarily have, but they're all around me. I hear them all the time. So I definitely miss the West Coast. I always felt more at home there.
Got it. You identify more with it.
Yeah, I just think politically, you know, I was
Yeah.
brought up and, you know, raised a Californian, and you know, yeah, they're a certain type of way, and it's not the same here.
Yeah, it is interesting. I feel like it was very like carefree in California.
Yeah,
Very, yeah, just a little wild. In a good
in a
way.
good yeah, in a good way. It's almost like a bubble, if you will, because I thought the world was a great place, because that's how it was where I was. Even with the cost of living being high, sure, but California is such a great place. Like, you know, just go outside for 5 minutes. Like, I can't do that here. Like, I'm a completely different person in California. You know, my dad and we would go hiking, camping. We were at the beaches all the time, fishing. I was always outdoors when I wasn't, you know, doing theater or whatever. But here, I'm indoors all the time. I don't want to leave the house. I don't want to go anywhere. And you know, most of the beaches are probably a 30 or 40-minute drive from where I live locally, and
Mhm.
just not worth it. Just not worth it.
Really.
Yeah,
That's a,
yeah.
because I know a lot of people go there like for vacation stuff.
Well, and that was another reason why I guess I landed on, like, I was okay coming here, was just because I figured, well, that's probably the closest I can get to a California setting, right? Beaches and palm trees and, you
Yeah.
know, right? But not at all the same. What I will say is California has way prettier water, but Florida has way prettier sand. And that's the best way to compare the two, in my opinion.
Hmm. And there are also, are there more sharks, do you think?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. You know, I was carefree in California about that stuff, you know, and I come here and I act that way, and people are always like, "Oh, come back, you're too far, you're too far out." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" You know, and in my head, again, I'm a Californian, so I'm like, "There's no gators in here," and they're like, "Not gators."
That gate So like they are there. Do you see them?
Yes. It did take me a while though, because it took me probably about 8 years for me to finally see one just out in the wild. But iguanas you see a lot here, because they're very invasive, I guess, in this area. So I see a lot of those, but I've only seen a few gators.
Hmm. So is the weather humid?
Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah.
It's humid. I mean, yeah, every day during the sun, and that's the other thing. Rain is different here than it is in California. When it does rain in California, I remember in California, and I think you could even say Portland's or Oregon, parts of Oregon are like this, where when it rains, it's kind of light, but it'll rain for a few days, and it's nice. The sun's not really out. But here in Florida, when it rains like storm level for about an hour and a half, and then it's sunny and bright like it never happened. And does that every day during the summer, probably between the hours of like 3 to 6 p.m. But yeah, again, I miss the other coast. I was more accustomed to that, and that was the other thing that was kind of a rude awakening. Is on the other coast, when you'd see it was about to rain, the temperature would drop. So I got used to like, oh yay, it's gonna rain, it's not gonna be so hot. But here, it's never getting cooler. So it played games with my brain when I first got here.
Yeah, I had to acclimate and adapt a lot in Oregon. Wow, I guess this was like the worst winter that I was here for.
Yeah.
So, but that I'm kind of happy because it feels kind of like a badge because people are saying, "Oh, you made it through this one. You can make it through anything."
Yeah.
So, okay, all right. Luckily, I didn't get caught in the snowstorm because there was one unexpected at the very end. A lot of people had to abandon their vehicles.
Yeah.
Like I would say at least 100 people. So I'm just kind of lucky I didn't get mixed up in all of that. Um, I would say that's probably a stroke of luck that I've had.
Yeah. A lot of people, when I got here and I say I'm from California, they always go, "Oh, I could never live there. Earthquakes." And it always makes me laugh because like I have been through a few, right? And they're very minor. And if you are Californian, it's almost like, you're holding a glass, like, oh, little earthquake, and then you go back to what you're doing. Here, they must be oblivious because here there are some serious hurricanes. We went through Hurricane Ian last year, and we're still recovering. We were right in the area of where it would hit, and it was bad. We lost our roof. Well, all the shingles flew right off. All the fences in our area are gone. Like no one has a real fence. So yeah, I'd take an earthquake. I would take an earthquake.
Yeah, you just reminded me of that hurricane. That was all over the news.
Yeah.
It was terrible. So I'm glad that you guys are safe.
Yeah. Yes, my fiance Victoria was pregnant during that, so it was very stressful. At first, I thought it was kind of cool because like it felt like camping, but in your house, because like you don't have power, you don't have water really. But again, not with a 7-month pregnant woman.
Yeah.
That was tough, but yeah, we made it through. The dogs did well, but yeah, earthquakes are way easier to handle. Well, and again, they're so tiny, little tiny ones. They last like 15, 30 seconds, if that. So.
Yeah, I've been through a few of them. Luckily, they were nothing to write home about. I hope that the experts are wrong, that we don't have a giant one at some point.
Yeah.
We haven't yet. I mean, hopefully not.
I'm hopeful too. A lot of family over there, so yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask, are you planning on pursuing anything like with stand up or maybe something with theater at some point, or are you?
Yeah, I am. So one thing that I wanted to mention, because you talked about synchronicity and luck, we're both have had some good luck. I think we all have our own timeline. Um,
Definitely.
I think we all are guilty of comparing each other. Like, oh, well, this person did this at this age. Why am I not doing that? But at the end of the day, I think if I just look at Devin's timeline as Devin, I think it's all right. I think I did okay, and I'm not done yet, right? So Steve Carell is an influence for me. He's
Hmm.
somebody who didn't get famous or really seen until he was in his 50s. So the way I kind of look at it is just keep preparing for the things that I eventually want to do. So I'm still writing. I'm still creating as much stand-up material as I can so that when the demand from the baby and the 6-year-old aren't as high, I'm able to do some more of those things. And I will say right now it's getting more tempting for me to start doing stand-up just because with my job I do work travel quite a lot. So I'm
Hmm.
in Tampa one month, and then I'm in Orlando one month, and I'm thinking to myself, man, this would be a great opportunity to just go out and do an open mic night.
Yeah.
Why not? Um, so I'm battling myself with that, but I think in a little bit my focus has changed a little bit in the sense of I've gotten really into football,
Oh,
fantasy football specifically.
okay.
Yeah. So I've excelled at it. So I've won money doing it. I've gotten really into it. So I've thought about dabbling in podcasting and that. Yes, sure, we need one more person doing that, right? But I'm really thinking of jumping into that.
Got it. Yeah, yeah. For me as well, I am also, because I had such a creative block because of comparing myself, feeling like it's too late, everything like that. And of course, oh, do we need one more podcaster? Um,
Yes, we do.
but then one day I was just like, you know what? Like, I this is something that I feel like I can bring something unique to the table. No one else is me. We're all different, so no one's going to do it the same. And,
Yes.
and there's an audience out there for everything. So,
Yes.
might as well just go for it. Um, you know, it's just getting started. I still need to design my space so I can have guests in person.
Right.
But yeah, but if I give credit to my friend, shout out Anna Stoika in Ireland. She was like, let's do this because I wanted her to be my guest, and she's like, let's just do it. And I said, okay, let's do it. So once we set the date, we did it like this in this format. We set the date and the time. Okay, here it is. It's launched, first episode. So I'm just kind of figuring it out as I go. Like I said, jump off the cliff, learn how to fly on the way down.
You're doing great. You're doing great. And honestly, the hardest part ever is starting. So I think in a lot of ways you got the hard part done. You just gotta the next thing that's hard, right, is consistency.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
but I think you're doing a great job. I've watched both of the episodes. I'm excited for who you have on next. And yeah, I fully support you. This is a really cool idea. I'm glad you're doing it.
Thank you. Yeah, the way I see it is that I had to ride the wave and not get off, which is also why I messaged you yesterday and I was like, let's do
Yeah.
this tomorrow. Because you're right. It is about consistency now and staying on that wave, baby.
Yep.
Don't get off.
Yep.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. Keep up the momentum. And I got into podcasts as my main form of entertainment. I don't even own a TV, so
Oh
that's like,
wow.
yeah, so that's kind of the main thing I do is listen to podcasts and watch them. And that's kind of how I took a little bit of an interest in stand-up comedy lately.
Yes.
And yeah, so I've been watching all the great comics out there right now who are on top right now. And
Who are some of your favorites? I'd love to hear.
well, of course, I I never was like super into him, but I heard that Dave Chappelle was #1. So
Yeah.
of course I got to watch this #1, right? So
Right.
I, of course, listened to Dave Chappelle. And then the females that have come out, I'm sure you've heard of Taylor Tomlinson,
Yeah.
Tig Notaro.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I like her a lot. And then recently, the most recent guy on top right now he's young. He's about my age. His name's Matt Rife.
Yes. Yes. I was just talking to my fiance about him because I was like, this guy came from nowhere. Everyone's talking about him. Women love him. Do you know this guy? And
He blew up out
she's
of
like,
nowhere.
he did. He did. Yeah.
But at the same time, though, sorry, Matt Rife, I should say he worked hard for like 10 years. So
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
really out of nowhere, right? But you know, with the use of TikTok,
Yep.
it seems like it's overnight.
Yes.
But I'm actually going to see him next month.
Oh, nice. Awesome.
Yeah. And I thought it'd be really fun to, you know, someday dip a toe, just one toe, maybe not 10, but dip a toe in comedy. Try some stand.
No, please do. Over the years, and I'd be happy to help you. Over the years, I've had people who have jumped in and, you know, have asked me, hey, can you look this over? Hey, does this look all right? And but no, absolutely do it. Because hear me out. If it is something you're either good at or something you like, and you didn't do it, imagine how you're gonna feel. So, and that's my advice to everybody. Just try it. I mean, if you don't like it, it's not for you. Okay. But if you know you have a really good story that people love to hear, and if you're thinking, oh well, my family always like, well, no, really. If your family's like, we love that story you tell us about when you were 3, or you know your experience at the zoo that time in middle school, whatever it is, there's your set. You just got to expand on it just a little bit more, and you might have something.
I love that. Well, now that I started listening to comedians, now it's like I'll be driving and then all of a sudden kind of like it will kind of come into my mind.
Yes.
Because,
yeah, I know what you mean.
like, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just starting to write those down, those ideas that come up, and we'll see if I can get some good enough material. I've already told some friends. I said, let's do it, because I was talking to a friend and she was explaining something. I'm trying to remember what it was, but I said, that right now, what you just did, I said, that was a whole bit. Like,
yeah.
That was stand-up. What you, like, the way she delivered it, I was like, that was absolutely stand-up. You could go up on a stage right now and say that the exact same way you just did.
Yes.
So I guess I have kind of the ear for it now.
I know what you mean. Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I just keep writing. I mean, I myself, I'm a creature of habit. I really like George Carlin. Jim Gaffigan, believe it or not, I really love Jim Gaffigan, Patton Oswalt. Amy Schumer, there was some stuff of hers I liked, but I just find typically, and it's a shame, because comedy is also going through a change. It's harder to do some things because many different reasons. Culturally, we're a little shooken up right now, everywhere. So, you know, I think there is, in some ways, a step back for comedy. I mean, think about comedy movies. When's the last time you've seen, like, for me, the last movie I saw that I thought was hilarious was Bridesmaids. But if you think about that, that was like, I don't know, 10 years now, 12 years. So, like, it's harder to make, you know, those comedies that we used to love, you know?
Yeah, that was a favorite of mine at the time, I remember, too.
Yep. And it blew me away. I remember, you know, maybe going a little biased. I'm like, what is this? Is this a girls' movie? What, you know, because I kind of got roped into going. And I remember absolutely loving it. It was hilarious. I did not expect it to be the way it was. So, But yeah, honestly, that's the last comedy that I've seen where I was like, wow, that was really good. Comedy's alive and well. I mean, these days now, you'd have an easier time with television. I'd say television is more where you have more time to tell a story. And I think that's good for comedy. Sketch comedy is still one of my favorite art forms. It's not out there much, but if you are into sketch comedy, I think you should leave on Netflix. I highly recommend it. It's absolutely hilarious, and yeah, and it's just little 2-3 minute sketches. You know, a premise, ha 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 ha, over before you're bored with it, on to the next.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Okay, got it. Yeah, I like those as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know stand-up is really difficult. It's like such a fine line right now. You know, so many people are getting offended and things.
Yeah.
But then there are still those people who, you know, if the joke is actually funny and it's about their demographic, they actually appreciate being mentioned, right? So
Yeah.
it's like such like a fine line with that.
Well, what I want to say to you, and for anyone who is considering trying stand up, there are two things that I want you to keep in mind. So the first thing that people usually say to me when they're like, "Oh, I can never do stand up." Why? Well, I don't want people looking at me.
Mm-hmm.
So I've done theater and I've done stand up. Stand up is way safer in my opinion because when you're up there, you have somebody blasting a bright white light in your face the whole time. So it's very hard for you to see who's there or if anyone, I mean, it could be an empty room for all I don't know. I can't see. So I want people who are new to understand that when you're up there, don't think you're awkwardly like staring into people's faces while you're telling them. You're not. You're not. And then second of all, especially when you're starting out, you're going to be in rooms where it's an inviting atmosphere. You're going to be around people who want to laugh. They've had a few drinks, and you know they're there to have a good time. You know, the things that you're seeing where people are having a harder time are, you know, professional comedians who are going to shows all over the country, and you know, the more opportunity for a problem, you're eventually going to have one. So, but for those starting out, don't even worry about that. Have fun, and you know, just see if it's for you because it might be.
I love that. That's awesome, man. Okay, so do you have any tips for people who might want to try acting?
In like a for film or theater.
Just in general.
Well, okay. I mean, yes, I would say regardless of which you're interested in, I would start with theater because theater is going to give you some fundamentals, and if not the fundamentals, confidence to let you know that you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
the
you
most important, what was
you
that?
have like support. Like,
Yes, you have support. Yes, because you'll meet people who are just like you, and it's a really special experience. Because honestly, you're going to go into acting and coming out with some of the best friends you've met, but you're not even thinking of that. You're thinking, oh, how do I be funny? How do I memorize this line? But in the interim, you're meeting these people. But so I would say I'd start with theater and on the community level.
mm.
And two things that are very important. Number one is being open. So, you know, if someone comes up to you and says, you know, oh, we think you have a good voice of singing. That means you have a good enough voice to sing. If someone's giving you a part, you be open to it. And second of all, be humble. It's very important to be humble in theater because in some of the community and professional theater, sometimes that trait is lost, and you don't want to be one of those people where it's lost. So especially when you're starting, be humble. Like each role, no matter how big or small it is, you're going to learn a lot from it. And again, you're also showing the people who are in charge of these things that you can be trusted, right? Mm-hmm. Well, I've given Devin progressively bigger roles, and he's improved. He's reliable because you know it's kind of like a job, right? Do you come in every day, you know, the way you should? Or did you do your homework? Do you play well with all the others? I mean, it is a lot like a job, but
Mhm.
I'd say the two biggest things: be open, hear people out with whatever they'd like to offer you, and be humble. You know, just be honored that you've got that callback because there's so many people right now that didn't get it. So those would be my two biggest things. But yeah, I'd start on a community level because it's the most, you know, it's an open door for really anyone who wants to try.
Yes. And do you think that people should definitely take classes before, or do you think that it would be okay to wing it?
Uh, that depends heavily on where your confidence is at. Because for me, I don't think it was. I don't think I could have done it without the classes and the workshops I had before I started getting roles.
Mm-hmm.
But again, if I was like, you know, if I had listened to the people who had been building me up, because I did have people in my corner all my life. Oh, you're so funny, do stand up. Oh, you're so funny, you gotta do theater. But I was so resistant to it. But I know some people who are like, yeah, my mom says I'm funny, and you know, so if you have, I mean, if you have that confidence from the get-go, maybe you can figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
These days, we're very lucky, you know, millennials and everyone below us, you know, everything's available on the internet. There's master classes. We could go on with all the supportive material for if you wanted to teach yourself. But uh, I think for me, I've always needed like I needed someone to come on, Devin, come on, you know, because there were times where I didn't think I could do it. But
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I agree. So when I was doing the gigs, there was some interest in me to be in, man, so bad with names when I'm on the spot, to be in this well-known artist's music video as the main like love interest role. I could have potentially got that, but I was not confident enough with my acting because I needed to submit a video of me like for
Yeah.
the audition, and it was like I had to pretend to be like the daughter of mobsters and all this stuff, and I was just like I didn't feel like I could figure that out like quickly enough to, you know.
Yeah, there have been times where even I have been asked to do things that I just couldn't do.
Yeah.
I was in an improv class that was kind of like a secret, private type of class where it was hosted by somebody in Hollywood who had a Grammy for writing and all this stuff. But it was hard, man. That was the first time where improv wasn't fun anymore because he'd be like, all right, Devin, in this scene, you're an Egyptian from 1920, so I really need to feel that in your accent, and you have 5 minutes, okay? And then he'd walk away. I'm like, I'm out. I don't even know where to start, you know? So, and I stopped going to that, and sometimes I often think maybe I should have stayed, but yeah, you got to follow your gut though, because you also don't want to look silly, right?
Yeah. I was just like, I don't know how to pretend to be a mobster's daughter.
No.
It wasn't me, but you know, it was cool just to even be considered, like just to even be
Absolutely.
to submit something. That was kind of a confidence boost in itself. Like, wow, okay, if I would have been the right one and prepared for this, I could have got this huge thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is cool. So yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to trying things. I think I'm kind of like finally breaking out of my shell to where I just the pain of not, like you mentioned, like if it's something that you would have enjoyed and you never tried it, you know, so the pain of not going for stuff is now greater than just like you gotta fail. That's what me and Omar were talking about. You gotta be okay with failing.
Yep, you do. You do. And that's another thing, I guess, another good bit of advice. You have to be, I mean, I guess, how could I forget? You got to be okay with rejection if you're going to act. Got to be okay with that. And, um, that was something that was really tough as I knew more and more people in the acting community because they weren't just a number anymore. That was like, oh no, I'm against, oh my God, I love that guy. Oh no, I don't want to like be the cause of. So, but yeah, you got to be open to rejection. And yeah, there were, I mean, I remember something that I'm still bummed out about was Pirates of Penzance at Ventura College.
I remember.
I didn't really get any. I didn't get picked, and the role I remember I was so bummed. The role that I had auditioned for, they ended up giving to one of the teachers last minute. I'm like, can you do that?
What?
But yeah. So again, gotta be okay with rejection. Yeah, that's a big part of acting.
Well, I hope that you do get up on some stages soon for.
Thank you.
I think that
Yes.
that could be cool, just for the heck of it sometime. I hope you get out there and go do some material.
Well, thank you, Lene. I hope you do as well. I hope you really do get out there and give it a shot because I think you're gonna like it.
Yeah, I feel like I got to take advantage. I'm right next to Portland, and I've been to some comedy already out here, and there's probably a ton of things in Portland. And it doesn't feel as scary for some reason as LA. Like,
Oh yeah, for sure.
I feel like and obviously it would be way harder probably to even get any time in LA as well.
Yeah. Well, open nights are more frequent in LA. But I don't know the Portland area well enough to say because maybe Portland's the same way too.
I heard about some open mic nights, so
Do it. Oh, what advice for that? Because I learned the hard way in Florida. Make sure if it's an open mic night, they mean stand up.
Oh yeah, okay.
I made a terrible mistake. I saw there was an open mic. This was, gosh, maybe 6 or 7 years when I got here, but I saw an open mic. I thought, oh, this is great. Drove there, got there early, and it was just like a mic in front of a bunch of people eating dinner. And it's more for like playing music or singing, but I didn't get that memo. So yeah, just make sure if you're going, because no one wanted to hear my jokes. They didn't come for comedy. They came for some nice, relaxing music while they ate. So make sure the open mic is for stand-up. That would be a really good thing.
Hilarious story though.
Oh, that's one of the only times I bombed because freezing feels like, even though it's like 10 seconds, it feels like 5 to 10 minutes. It is excruciating, but we need those experiences too, right? We need a few rainy days for the sunny days. So
yeah, that just made me thankful for the time I choked in college.
Yep. Because now you know.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. I froze, I blanked, like total blank. I literally was just said nothing and just walked away. But all right. I think I will give it a shot.
Good.
And be sure to let me know if you give it a shot.
Oh, I will. I'll let you know.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. Is there anything you want to say before we go? Or?
Just want to say I love my family. Thanks for all my friends who have stood by me all these years. Mom, Dad, Tori, and yeah, I'll see all of you again soon. I promise. I'll get back out there and do something creative. I promise.
Awesome. Well, it was so good to see you again, Devin. And
yes.
for everyone watching, catch him on Instagram at Daddy Dornboss.
Yes.
Is there any?
I'm a dad.
Any other socials or anything you want to drop?
No. Yeah. Instagram. I do have a TikTok, which I'll which I can share. It'll be in my bio on my Instagram. I'll add it there. But I have some funny stuff on there with some pranks I pull on my fiance. So definitely check that out.
That's cool. I'm gonna go follow you and check that out.
Perfect.
All right. Well, I guess we'll call it. I'll let you catch some Z's, and thanks again for being here. Hopefully, we'll talk soon.
Thank you, Linnea. Have a great night. Thanks so much for the opportunity.
Anytime. Anytime. Thank you.
Thank you.
See ya.